All right, fastest 15 minutes in social media, fastest 15 minutes on the internet. My name is Judson Powell. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. Please hit all the buttons. Please hit the notification button. Please hit the love button. All right, anyway, so got something I want to talk about. Yesterday I was talking about spirituality, your purpose, and all of that kind of stuff. And then, so I get a phone call from my youngest daughter. And she's all excited because my second oldest daughter, okay, so they're doing the family tree, right? So they, but I mean, I didn't, want to tell them that I had done all of this stuff like years ago, but it's cool, because they're excited about it. So, it excites me. So I'm glad that they're doing that. So, but they did go way back on my mother's side, which I had never really done, because before there were not enough records. Well, their records existed, but you couldn't get to them or you couldn't find them. And now that there's money involved in it, you can pretty much get whatever records you want. Who knew, right? And also because of the internet and because of if you go into if you could figure out where your folks were, then you could go into the county courthouse unless they met a untimely demise, as a couple of my ancestors did. So anyway, so I'm sitting there listening, right, and then I'm thinking to myself the whole time. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, God, she's gonna keep digging back, and then what's she gonna hit? She's gonna hit white folks. So and then so I got one daughter that likes white folks and one that don't. And so my wife is sitting on the couch, and she's sitting on the couch, and I could see her there texting, and I was like, who are you texting? Trying to act like I was concerned because I know it wasn't nobody, but anyway, so I was playing with her. So she said, I'm texting, I said, me and your daughter are texting each other. I said, which one? And she said, oh, the youngest one. I said, oh, okay. Tell her I said hi. So then the next thing comes when, all of a sudden she starts, she's like trying to relay stuff that excuse me, that she's discovered or that she's found out. And so her and her sister had got an argument about black and white. I should be laughing about this stuff. It's really funny because whether y'all know it or not, or most people don't realize, a lot of the time is that you don't really have a firm grip or a firm grasp upon anything, right? And until you start really researching it, that's why I tell people all the time to do the research. The other thing is you will find, because most of the records and stuff here were kept by Caucasians, it's skewed to Caucasians. So you got to go through it. You really got to research. You can't really, because I never found, like, for example, I never found my great grandfather. I know his name. He was in the census and everything, but they gave him smallpox. And so they declared in the county that he was, that he couldn't be buried in the family cemetery. So he's not in the cemetery down there, and in Virginia, in Newsoms, Virginia. That's where my people are from. And so and I've been there a few times. I've been in every graveyard, every church, because they used to bury people up underneath the floorboards of the church. And, they had, and up there, they don't bury you 6 feet deep. They bury you like on top, and you have like a burial vault, basically made out of cement. And it's in Southampton County, the same county where the slave revolts took place with Nat Turner. So that's the same. So that's basically the same thing. And so anyway, so it was a horrible thing. And then my grandfather, Judson Sr., he was a twin, and they lynched his twin brother. And so there's no record of him anywhere, because as soon as they lynched him, they deleted him from everything and act like he didn't exist. And so that's why I named my My second son, I named him after him because I was like, we're gonna redeem him through life. And that's how you break. By the way, that's how you break generational curses. Y'all all running here talk about breaking generational curses, but y'all keep on practicing the rituals that is establish the curse. You can't break a stronghold by being in a stronghold. It just, I mean, come on now. That should just be common sense to you. You should just think about that and be like, well, how am I supposed to break this stronghold? Or how am I supposed to break this curse? Or how am I supposed to break this? But yeah, it's still, I'm practicing the rituals, for the curse. But that's why I tell y'all all the time, see, these are ritualistic things that happen on a continuous basis and have been happening since the dawn, basically for 400 years. For 400 years. And there's no, as far as I could read or as far as I could research, there's no way to ascertain where this stuff came from, except for, that's why I've been, teaching right now on humankind versus mankind. And here's the rub. So that's why I say, well, so when you go back far enough, all of a sudden you start getting to white people and you start getting the slave masters and everything else. Because what? Because they was doing vile things. They was some nasty, no good, trifling people. I'm sorry. And to this day, that spirit still exists. That's why we got all these mass murders and we got all this stuff going on. That's why. The human trafficking, they trafficking kids so that they can perform these nasty rituals that they do with little kids. And, that's why they let the priests off. They let the priests off because they know too much. If they took them priests to trial, do you know how many white folks will be implicated by just the testimony alone? That's why the priests ain't been arrested. And you see and even with the Jeffrey Epstein thing, and everything else, no matter what you do, if the rabbit hole runs deep, but it's still there. You can still go down the rabbit hole and you can pull a rabbit out of your hat, right? Come on, y'all, somebody, so, that's why. And so that's what goes on in the United States of America. And like I said, the buck busting, just straight homosexuality. Nothing redeeming, no redeeming qualities, knowing that it's sodomy. They sodomizing black men. And right now, and now black men, they've been doing it for so long. Now black men are really what? They're sodomizing themselves. And I ain't saying nothing, I ain't trying to say nothing bad about nobody. I love everybody. But you got to realize where all this stuff is coming from and how you were dragged into this. And it's a ritual. It's a ritualistic type situation. That's what it is. And it is what it is. And so that's why I was like, man, I hope she don't get to the point where she starts seeing like the different, oh man, so you mean my great granddaddy was white. And what do you think your great granddaddy, he was a slave? And then she started seeing things next to these names, slave owner. And then there was one dude, and I'm his name was Washington Adams. So and they brought him over here, and he was in a place in North Carolina, and they could not enslave him. So I don't know what the story. There was a notation on the census record saying that he was unslavable. He couldn't be made into a slave. And he was an African, but we don't know what his see. That's the thing. We don't know. We know that that his that his name is a slaveholder's name. We know that, but how are we going to find out like where he came from? And then my other daughter, she says, well, we got Sierra Leone, we've got Ghana, and we've got Nigeria. So we got 3 different places in West Africa that are potentially, the origin of our ancestors, of our African ancestors. So, so it's like kind of like a bittersweet type thing. But here's the thing too. White folks, y'all got a lot of black in y'all too. And they don't want to believe that, but it's true because they were commingling, and I remember when I used to preach and teach the Bible, and, all of the things in the Bible say, well, you can conquer this whole thing of people or whatever. And, and then you can have all the women, tell the men, you can have all the women that haven't been touched by a man. So any woman that was still a virgin or that had not laid down with a man, you could have her. So do you really believe? I know it sounds stupid, but do you really believe that them white dudes was not looking at them black girls? Yes, they were. And they had some children that they could pass off for white, and they had some children that they couldn't. The ones they could pass off for white, they kept them white. The ones that they couldn't, they enslaved them. All right? Man, I've been eating this caramel. But yeah, so that's the thing. So when you go back and you start looking at your ancestry and you start finding out what's going on, you will realize that there's a lot of discrepancies, a lot of people that hooked up that you would not even think would have hooked up and stuff like that. They're there. And the census, the county records, in most places you can go. Because I remember when the first time I ever went, and I went into Southampton County Courthouse trying to find my great grandfather, and I was looking through the death records and all that kind of stuff and the probate records. And when I started going through the probate records, I mean, they was literally trading Negroes for a box of silverware and stuff like, it was like, I leave my box of silverware and my two niggas to, excuse me, I didn't mean to use that word, but I'm just trying to get the point across. And my two N-words, to my beloved cousin, so and so and so and so. Go down there. I'm serious. You can go down there. It's just like when they started finding out, like when George Bush, the baby Bush, became president, and they found out that he had a covenant. He had a covenant on his property in Texas, where his property could not be conveyed to anybody who was a slave or anybody who was black. And covenants like that still exist, although they're illegal. They're unenforceable. You can't enforce them because of discrimination laws. But those were the things that they did, and so that they made sure that their property stayed in the hands of the white folks, because a lot of that property, especially and people don't even realize this, as far north as Maryland, and there was black people that owned property. So, but they did not know the legalities. They did not know the law, and so that's how white folks stole a lot of stuff. Because they would just go, because like in a recording state, like the first person who records the deed is the owner of the property. And, compensation and money be damned. The first person that records the deed, that's the person that owns that property in recording states. That's how it used to be. And you had no recourse. So, so you're looking at, all these days. So you can go back and you could chase out just like those people they're talking about at that beach in California right now. It was owned by black folks, and the county took it away and gave the beach to the white folks. And now, all these years later, they're coming back and they're saying, no, that's their land. And there's a lot of situations that are like that. So not only are we really due reparations, but if you go back and you look at a lot of those land records, you will find out that a lot of that land was owned by black families. So that's why I say, go and check up on it and know where you came from. That's a great reason to actually know, your family history. Anyway, Fastest 15 Minutes is up. My name is Judson Powell. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit all the buttons. And most of all, hit the love button. I love you. Go check them court records. You might have some property out there.